Hello, this is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Mitchell Hershkowitz, who is Market and Channel Development Specialist with Canon, as well as Tom Cusanelli, who is Senior Product Marketing and Planning Specialist with Canon. Topic of conversation is, of course, collaboration today and tomorrow, a supplement to Commercial Integrator. And that's why we have David Danto, who is Director of Emerging Technologies with IMCCA, here with us today. David is, of course, the editor of Collaboration Today and Tomorrow, works in close concert with Commercial Integrator on that supplement, as well as numerous other initiatives. Thank you so much, David, for joining us and being part of this conversation.
Oh, always my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And thanks to the team at Canon. I want to hear more about what's going on with the AMLOS product. Well, start with that. Describe AMLOS for us.
Absolutely. So AMLOS stands for Activate My Line of Sight, is our hybrid meeting solution that we developed in the past few years post-pandemic. And we use it to help people communicate and collaborate a little bit more authentically with a blend of physical and digital assets in the room. So we really want to help the remote experience kind of feel like you're in the room with the people who are joining in, meeting spaces like this, where you're using physical things like whiteboards and maybe even like props or prototypes on the table.
Really is so important, right? I mean, we're talking about hybrid all the time now. We understand that we live in a new world where virtually every meeting is going to have people who are physically there as well as those who are remote. And you need to make sure those remote employees feel included. They may not be able to physically touch a whiteboard, but they should be able to interact and collaborate in a fulsome way, not just be kind of add-ons to the meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, and it works both ways, Dan, right? So we want people who are remote to feel like they're part of the meeting, that they're actually sitting in that room with everyone, because we also want people to know that it's a hybrid workspace. And a lot of companies want you coming to the office 1 time or 2 times a week. So when you come to the office, we don't want them sitting in front of a camera watching slides. We want them interacting with that physical imagery and that physical prototypes, as Tom just mentioned, or using the whiteboard themselves. And now they get that same experience whether they're at home or in the office.
I got a chance to see the AMLOS solution about a year or so ago for the first time when you had it at CES, and a couple of times since then. And it's really not just one thing. It's such a combination of interesting things in terms of hand gesture control and camera adjustments and video. I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, why don't you give us like a brief walkthrough of the various components of how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of start things off. So on the in-office experience side of things, when you're using AMLOS, we use hand gestures, like you mentioned, to kind of guide the camera to see different things in the room. So what we're using is one Canon PTZ camera, so it's a pan tilt zoom camera. And the hand gestures that we're doing will kind of signal to the camera to zoom into an area of focus, which we call a spotlight. If you have something that you maybe want to talk about in detail and you want the remote users on the call to be able to see it a little bit better. So you can do those hand gestures. It'll highlight things in the room. You could also do a hand gesture to capture, an image of the whiteboard, for example, again, to continue sharing content with your full team. And that's kind of the in-office experience side. You could sort of step away from your laptop and really utilize the room to kind of, the full room experience as if everyone was there. And then on the remote user side, you have kind of a more detailed remote user interface that we integrate with Microsoft Teams, and you can also use in a browser version. But basically, in that remote UI, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to see. You can drag and drop the different video feeds, all coming from that one camera in the room. So you can kind of like pick your own journey throughout the course of the meeting. You could follow along with different things. Each person on the remote side can really sort of follow along with whatever they want to see at any point in time throughout the call.
So instead of the automated director features that we're starting to see in a lot of the platforms, you give the ability for each viewer to individually be their own director, so they can look at the whiteboard when they want, or look at the people when they want, or see whatever else is going on in the space. That's kind of it, right?
Yeah, everyone has a different interest, if you will, and not to be stereotypical to the title, but if you have a financial person in the room, they may want to focus on a spreadsheet that's being shared, and we can share the digital content as well. So they might want to focus on that spreadsheet, while the more creative person in the room may be looking at an image that was drawn on the wall or on the whiteboard, and somebody else is more of that multi-view person. They want to see everything. They want 3 views up at a time. So it really gives them the ability to personalize to how that person works, or in the case of a university, how that person learns, as well as allow them to really come back to the thing that was most important to them. One of the challenges a lot of times with remote meetings is if you, David, are presenting and you share something with me, 5 minutes later, I might want to go back to it, but you've already moved on. And it just gives me that ability to repeat and go back to it and even save it for later conversation.
It's really fantastic. And it seems exactly as you say that the technology adapts to your needs. It meets you where you are, which is fantastically empowering for today's hybrid workers. Since we are in Infocom season, I can't help but ask you, I'm sure you can't give me everything you're planning to do at Infocom. You need to keep some of it secret up until we get to Las Vegas. But what does Canon USA have planned? What are some things people should look forward to when they check out your displays?
Yeah, so from the AMLOS perspective, we'll be a part of the booth. People will be able to see the entire Canon portfolio, not just the cameras that we use for the AMLOS platform, but the cameras that could be used to complement it if people want to do live streaming or any type of webcasting. So they'll see that true Canon experience. From the AMLOS perspective, we'll be sharing some of the updates that will be coming out in Q3. Most of them are centered around an evolution of our interface. A lot of what we do with AMLOS is based on feedback from the end user, as you can imagine. So an evolution of the interface is coming, different experience around how we view and share content. And then one that's really been based on feedback for the end user, David made the point before, just about the direction of a meeting. So the presenter will have a little bit more control over how they present. We'll still give that flexibility to the end user, but we'll also allow this control by the presenter as needed. So those are a couple of highlights, and then we'll share with them some of the folks who are using it now and some of the additional use cases that we've learned since the last Infocom.
Mitchell, you mentioned the end user feedback, which is of course vital. If there are people who are watching this video, be they end users or integrators who are wanting to learn more about Canon, wanting to reach out, wanting to engage with you before they get to the displays at Infocom, what's the best way people can learn more about your product, learn more about AMLOS, and reach out to you in general?
So I'd first kind of draw everyone to our website. It's usa.canon.com/AMLOS. It'll bring you to, a full kind of experience that also sort of gives you kind of a sneak peek in how the AMLOS technology works, interactive site. You can click around a little bit and see, kind of what your remote experience might look like. You could also submit a demo request, or you could reach out to myself or Mitch directly.
Mitchell, go ahead.
Just quickly at Infocom, you're going to be in the Central Hall this year. I think it's right in front of the technology innovation stage. So
yeah,
it's going to be a cool spot to be in and pick up all the people walking after the presentations that want to see something exciting.
Yeah, we're hoping for some good traffic. I noticed that on the map as well. And I think just also being in the Canon booth, we get a lot of old school photographers and folks who know Canon, they know the brand, they don't necessarily know what we're doing on the workplace side of the house. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited for it. And it's less than a month away now.
Thank you so much, Mitchell. Thank you so much, Tom, and of course, David, for being part of this conversation. Can't wait to showcase collaboration today and tomorrow, bundled with the June issue of CI plus SSI. And of course, please check out commercialintegrator.com in the run-up to Infocom, during Infocom, and after for more thought leadership content focused on collaboration, conferencing, hybrid work, all those areas in which Canon is a leader. Again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having us.
My name is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. So happy to be joined by Mitchell Hershkowitz, who is Market and Channel Development Specialist with Canon, and Tom Cusanelli, who is Senior Product Marketing and Planning Specialist with Canon. Of course, David Danto is the Director of Emerging Technologies with IMCCA and the Editor of Collaboration Today and Tomorrow. Until next time, we'll see you soon.